Hey Pure Bhangra, thanks for having me. My name is Jordan Falk, and I'm an actuary from Madison, Wisconsin in the United States.
पंजाब होवे शराब होवे गन्ना होवे बार वाला मंजा होवे हो मंजे उत्ते बैठा जो होवे अपना पंजाब होवे करती शराब होवे अपना पंजाब
Bhangra to me is just pure happiness. Whether it's the joy of expressing yourself through dance, the love of spending all your time with your friends and teammates, or the thrill of competing against your rivals on stage. There's nothing that quite fulfills you like Bhangra does. I love my non-Bhangra friends, but I drive 3 hours to another city for practice every weekend. And it's just difficult to see anyone outside of my teammates. But every summer, when there's not quarantine going on, I try and spend more time with them. It's just not happening this summer due to these rare and unfortunate circumstances. I don't think I'm ever satisfied with it. Whether it's the choreo or the music or the dancing or the formations, there's always something that can be improved. There's always something that can be better. That doesn't mean that it's not good. I have tons of performances that I think are great, or tons of segments where I think the choreo is excellent, but I don't think most dancers would ever say that there's such thing as a perfect performance or a perfect set. Well, I'm currently captain of Ministry of Bhangra based out of Chicago, and I also dance for Dunia Derang, which is a nationwide team. Outside of that, those both take up quite a bit of time. I do a lot of choreo for Ministry of Bhangra, do a lot of critiques and feedback, building the team, training new dancers, working on formations and set design. That takes up the bulk of my time. But I do judge fusion competitions. I make myself available to anyone else off of my teams that is looking for feedback. Just try and help out and boost up the community in any way possible. I also like to keep track of Bhangra history, so any information that kind of sheds light on move origins, names, any traditions. I like to keep track of it all and share it, because a lot of people when they're getting started don't necessarily have all the resources that they'd like to have. Probably two. My captain on Dunia Derang, Angela Luo, is pretty much everything that I could ever hope to become as both a dancer and as a captain, a leader, and a judge. She is just incredibly knowledgeable, resourceful, driven, kind, respected. Everyone looks up to her. You'd have a hard time finding anyone with anything negative to say about Angela. When I started dancing for Dunia Derang, I was just a dancer on Ministry of Bhangra. I wasn't a captain, I wasn't a leader, so I mainly looked up to her as a dancer and just respected, everything that she did to lead the team. But when I became a captain of my own team, I started to even more appreciate and understand how much effort and time she puts into the team and the profound impact and positive ramifications that can have on the environment. And I just wanted to be like her. Other idol would probably be Sid Fundit. And most people would say that. I feel like he is incredibly knowledgeable, a very respected judge. He's just almost an authority on Bhangra in the North American circuit. I don't have anything in particular lined up outside of working on the set for Ministry of Bhangra for next and upcoming season. In my free time, I like to come up with choreo on my own, just kind of push my creativity a little bit. Dunia Derang sometimes has little choreo challenges, which I participate in, and then always just drilling my fundamentals. I guess that's more practice, not really projects, but yeah, I don't ever feel satisfied with my dancing, so I'm just pushing myself every day. Same with choreo, it's something that needs to be exercised in order to get stronger. A lot. For starters, I started dancing Bhangra 7 years ago for a small collegiate team called Wisconsin School of Bhangra. I danced with them for 3 years, but we never really had much of a mentor, didn't really have an ustad. Most of what we learned was just from YouTube videos, and back then there wasn't a lot of information out. So we worked hard, but our form wasn't really good, and despite spending 3 years dancing for them, I don't feel like I ever got that good. Didn't learn that much. And I took a break to dance fusion for a while, came back and started dancing for Ministry of Bhangra a little over 2 years ago, and finally then started to learn how Bhangra should really be danced. But it's only recently that I've started to have the resources available to learn how to properly dance. And that's just something that I wish I had from the start. There's a million teams that do things a million different ways. As a beginner, you don't really know what's right, what's wrong, who to look up to, who to follow, who's doing a move right. It's difficult. So I make it a point to try and document and save resources whenever I find them, so someone that's starting off has an easier time getting into it than I did. Other challenges are, I live 3 hours away from where my team is, so every weekend I spend 6 hours in a commute, sleep on friends' floors or couches or air mattresses. That's for Ministry of Bhangra, and then Dunia Derang, we just practice through videos, which we make work really well, but it's not quite like dancing in person. So just finding a way to run a team remotely, traveling a lot, managing time, it's difficult, Some days I'll get done with work at 7, 8 p.m. and I'll be in the dance studio until 1 in the morning. And then I just gotta wake up and go to work the next day and repeat. Don't get a lot of sleep, don't have a lot of time for anything outside of dance and work. I live in the United States, I'm in North America. I don't follow the Indian circuit that much, so I can't really comment on that too much. But I know here, at least in the States, we really utilize social media to publish everything, push everything. That probably has something to do with it. The Bhangra circuit has a lot of close ties to the fusion circuit, other dance circuits. So there's a lot of crossovers between dancers and DJs and universities. So all of these big schools and big universities are pumping out Bhangra teams and fusion teams and Ras teams, and all these dancers kind of intermingle, and DJs work for both of them, and competitions host both. So all these circuits kind of elevate the others and bring publicity to the others. So if your school has a really popular fusion team, your Bhangra team is probably going to be popular too. So I don't know if other circuits are as big in India, but everything is pretty popular here, and almost every major university has multiple teams, Desi dance teams, and they all just boost each other. That's pretty easy. It's usually ego. People think they're better than they are, people think they're better than other people think they know better. The best way to avoid it is just be humble, keep egos in check. Everyone, including the captains and the choreographers, need to realize that they don't know everything about Bhangra. There's always someone better than them that knows more, and that they can all learn from each other. Number one thing to avoiding drama, politics, is making sure that your environment is positive and open and friendly. Everyone should feel comfortable to be able to speak their minds. That doesn't necessarily mean in front of the team, in front of the captains at practice, but people should feel comfortable reaching out to the captains outside of practice if they need to. My captains on Dunia Derang, Angela Luo and Ashley Espinoza, have done a wonderful job by making a positive environment, and that's something that Akash Menon, my co-captain on Ministry of Bhangra, and I have tried to replicate on Ministry of Bhangra. And I think we've done a good job. There's very little politics on our teams. It depends on what you're talking about. So obviously the North American music circuit is going to be a lot less traditional than the Indian live music circuit. Even live teams here in the United States are less traditional than in India. I'm okay with that. I mean, I danced for a music team, so if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be doing it. I think it's important to maintain some aspects of the traditionality, use traditional moves, but incorporate new twists on them, new variations on them, use them in new different ways with music that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Something to keep things interesting, because if you're just doing the same basic moves over and over, I think audiences can tend to get bored with that. As a dancer, I love live sets, watching them, but it doesn't necessarily draw in all the large crowds, and it's not for everyone. Yes, yeah, that happens quite a bit. People can get pretty big egos, get very overconfident in their abilities. Again, keep your ego in check. I think some people are clout chasers. Some people just want to judge or coach or teach or get Instagram followers just for the clout, just for the fame and the publicity. But I think that's a minority. Most people are pretty humble. They work hard. If a couple people here and there want to get a couple extra likes on their Instagram account by posting about how they're coaching Bhangra classes or trying to judge competition, whatever, live and let live. People that want to, aside from judging, because judging can hurt others, but if you're just trying to boost yourself on social media, it doesn't hurt me, but if you want to be a judge, I say try to be pretty self-aware. If you haven't been designing sets for a couple years and leading a team to success and dancing decently well yourself, you probably shouldn't be trying to judge. But hey, the circuit has to get new judges at some point. We can't have the same 10 people judging over and over. So, I'm down to have new judges, but they should have a pretty strong history. I don't know. Here in the United States, if people come up with lists or in North America, I should say, people came up with lists of who they think are the best Bhangra dancers, there would be no one listed from Indian teams. That might just be due to we don't really know names of individuals over in the Indian circuit. We compete here, so we know people in the States. I don't compete against Indian teams, so I don't know any of them. I'll watch teams and I like sets, but I don't know any of the individuals by name. But if I ask people people that live in India and compete in the Indian circuit. They probably don't know American dancers, right? So, I don't know. I don't think they're underappreciated. Dive in, head first. Don't be lazy. Work your ass off. Oh, can I say that? Cut that out. You gotta work hard, right? Like, Bhangra should be fun, but it's gonna be more fun the better you get, the harder you work. It becomes more rewarding. If you just slack off and you just kind of coast through and you never really improve, you're not gonna feel a sense of accomplishment. So push yourself every day. Surround yourself with people that are also driven. You know, ask around, look for respectable individuals in the circuit, ask them for feedback. Don't be afraid to just cold call people. You know, I've been blowing up Sid, Angela, Prince, other people in the circuit before I was dancing for them, before I knew them well. You know, I would bug them for critiques all the time, and they just kind of destroy you, but you learn from it. So just reach out, really push yourself, both creatively, physically, mentally, and socially.